What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Fanatics Eye. Me and a lot of other people, including Steelers fans, we're not just ready to write the Steelers off. We did write the Steelers off, okay? I was probably on the more pessimistic side. I basically said they were the worst team in the NFL. But that was after they lost back-to-back games to the Cardinals and the Patriots. And then they lost to the Colts the next week. Inexcusable. But since Mason Rudolph has taken over for the Steelers, they're 2-0, averaging 437 total yards and 32 points a game. Kenny Pickett this season has started a total of 12 games. In that 12-game span, his two best games, they averaged 398 yards but only 20 points per game. On the season without Mason Rudolph, the Steelers averaged 305 yards and just 17 points per game. The biggest difference in these two offenses is how well George Pickens is being involved and how much he's being involved. In the last two games, with Mason Rudolph throwing the ball to George Pickens, he has accrued 10 receptions on 15 targets with 326 yards and 2 touchdowns in 2 games. That gives him an average of 7.5 targets and 5 receptions per game. With Kenny Pickett and Mitchell Trubisky, 6.5 targets with just 3 receptions per game. So less targets, less receptions, but the difference is in the yardage, the kinds of targets he was getting with Pickett and Trubisky. Okay, we were seeing a lot of dink and dunks, a lot of slants that weren't really meant to go anywhere. Lots of short hitch routes, maybe some 10-yard hitch routes that he was able to get away, get some yards after catch. Now, I'm not saying this is every time because, of course, Kenny Pickett hit him for some deep posts, some streaks down the sideline, some kind of stop-and-go route. That did happen every now and then. But with Mason Rudolph, this team is taking strikes downfield consistently. Down the sidelines, up the middle of the field, everywhere. Mason Rudolph looks like he is comfortable to throw to any route, to any player, any distance down the field. He's looking extremely good. But the most important thing is that he is consistently hitting George Pickens on the deep ball. George Pickens is one of the most lethal, deadly deep ball threats in the NFL. When I'm thinking of elite deep ball threats, I'm thinking of Tyreek Hill, I'm thinking of Jamar Chase, and I'm thinking of George Pickens. Obviously, there's other guys I would consider elite deep ball threats, but those are the 3 guys that come to my mind first. George Pickens has one of the highest percentages of explosive plays turned into touchdowns. The other significant thing we're seeing since Mason Rudolph has shown up is the 1-2 punch in the backfield, that being Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren, has been much more efficient in these last 2 games than we see them be. Of course, they've both played very well all season. Jaylen Warren has had a breakout year. Najee Harris, not his best year, but I mean, up until these last 2 weeks, he still had over 800 rushing yards. So he was still on pace, and he has reached over 1,000 yards. But not only does he have 1,000 yards, Jaylen Warren also has 1,000 yards. But in back-to-back games, Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren have rushed for over 100 yards. That's the first time this season that has happened. Najee Harris against the Seahawks last week had a season high of 122 yards and 2 touchdowns. His first game this season rushing for over 100 yards or rushing for multiple touchdowns, and he did both in the same game. He ran all over them. They ran for over 200 yards together, Jaylen Warren and Najee Harris. Now, obviously, the quarterback, it doesn't make a huge impact on running back play. But when your offense is a deep threat, when you can push the ball downfield consistently, now people are worried about the pass. So they're not going to load the box all the time. It gives the running back more opportunities. And we've seen it happen for the last 2 weeks in a row. Both running backs, they look faster, they look stronger, they're throwing guys to the ground. They just look a million times better. They are running the ball way more efficiently. And especially Najee Harris has looked like a completely different player these last 2 weeks. The team believes in Mason Rudolph, and he has earned his spot as the starting quarterback for the rest of the season at least. I don't know if I would go as far as to say that, oh, we've got a new franchise quarterback, because it's been 2 weeks. I'm not going to judge my entire opinion on a guy based off of 2 weeks. And we all know Mason Rudolph has a much bigger history of being a horrendous quarterback than he does of being a miracle quarterback and a playmaker. So I'm going to give it to the end of the season, see what happens. But for now, this is the best quarterback play we've seen since Big Ben left. I'll leave you with that. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and we will see you on the next video. Peace out.